this video is a quick tour of the careers page on the Creative Media Production site, which hopefully you may have stumbled upon already. It is a quick video tour. The best experience of this will be to do so on the site, navigate through it, read the various bits and pieces, expose yourself to all the links, open up all the presentations. This is merely an introduction to what's available. So on the careers page, there's a few links to some various other documents which we will explore in more detail. For example, in Year 12 Careers Week, one of which is a document, a template document for a CV, a production specific CV. One of which is a document to explore different production roles you may not have known existed. For example, vision mixer, sound technician, auto cue operator, floor manager, all the skills that you will get in the multi-camera unit here in the studio. Okay, these are our current students, or at least were Year 13s last year, operating the current TV studio in the roles which we've just mentioned: vision mixer, floor manager, sound technician, auto cue operator. Some additional jobs: color grader. Have we ever heard of that before? Foley artist, for example. Color grader is quite an interesting job. There's a nice infographic there for you to have a look at in respect to Breaking Bad. The entirety of Breaking Bad throughout the many seasons was color graded in such a fashion that it changed gradually depending on the mood, the atmosphere, and the narrative. So there's something to have another look at in more detail. Some questions to ask during an interview, some questions to ask when comparing production degrees, and some questions to ask when going up for a job, for example, the specifications of the job that you are going for example. So there's a resource to play with as well. There's a Twitter list on the site that I put together, some accounts that post job vacancies in the media and film industry. This one in particular, Production Base, is quite good. They advertise jobs in the current landscape in hopefully the industry you want to go into, and that is quite a good list to subscribe to if you have a Twitter account. There is a separate presentation on how to make a Google site portfolio, but I have created a separate video on that, so I'd rather you watch that instead. Okay, so that's some of the resources here which we will look at in Careers Week in a lot more detail. There's some other inspiration there, hopefully. Be impressive, find ways, like many of my students have in the past, to stand out from the crowd, to create a wow factor that you have that somebody else you might be going up against for a university place or a job in the future might not have. For example, many of my students have worked on BFI screenwriting projects in the past. Two of my students have worked for Sky News on election night. That comes around every so often, and I do get contacted by a contact at Sky News for student volunteers for that, so I'll keep an eye out then for any future opportunities like that. Mock interviews with staff. Ewan Hasty, a student in the past, has asked me and other members of staff to pretend to be interviewing him for a job, and he got some good experience from that. Social media takeovers of the Durham Sixth Form Centre account is something you obviously have access to via me, the manager who runs that. So please speak to me if you would like any experience there. Local film events. I had students film the Christmas Nativity for the council. They filmed it, they edited it, they exported that, they provided that, and it went on their social media. And various other things like the Durham Sports Partnership and the Big Draw. So have a look out for opportunities like that. Lumiere. I've had students work on Lumiere. Nice segue, in fact, into Nathan Clark, a student who worked on Lumiere while he was here, but has then since went on to work for the FA. He's worked on Geordie Shore as a floor manager. He worked on the Marvel set when they were at the Cathedral in Durham, when Endgame filmed there, and he has set up his own production company. He came back not too long ago and filmed some promotional video material for the Sixth Form Centre. Okay, there's him on site, and there's a newsletter we wrote about him. Some more former students I've got. Chris Hills, he has his own company now, video editor, works in London. Okay, I've got students who are now photographers, who run social media campaigns, camera operators. Okay, work in marketing, social media, okay, and have created films for Nando's, Marks and Spencer's, JD, etc. Okay. Other things we can do. I mentioned the student takeover earlier. I run all the school's social media. You may or may not know that. I don't know. If you would like to participate in that, run that for a week, a month. If you've got an idea for a campaign, if you would like to man the account during open event, for example, please let me know. That is something I would love to get you involved with. Okay, so there's an idea as well. Then some of the resources which I'd rather you read out yourself. So what courses are available, compare the league tables, look at potential pitfalls. For example, many people get offered a place. Then there's an interview process. What is the interview process like? How do you get through it? How do you survive it? Okay, how can you create a wow factor? It may not be a university you're interested in. There are still apprenticeships in the media industry, more so than ever. Okay, social media interns in particular get taken on at a junior level, but then get a lot of freedom and ownership to do that role because not a lot of people in existing companies understand it. Okay, so that could be something to look at, an apprenticeship in the media industry. Sky do some media apprenticeships. Former students already work for Sky. Chris Iddens, for example, have a look at him on Twitter. Competitions, Media Magazine, the RTS Young People's Media Festival, and the BFI Film Awards are all competitions we have entered students in the past, had shortlisted, been finalists, and in some cases won. For example, the RTS Award, Emily won in the past. Okay, so enter yourself into competitions. Media landscape, some tweets and some accounts to look at. That's that Twitter list I mentioned earlier. This is an infographic of all the companies that Disney own. It's only there to show you the diversity of different media products. You don't have to become a film director, for example. There are so many different jobs in the media industry that you could perhaps find an interest in one day working in. Okay? Once you do start looking at job adverts and person specifications, ask yourself, what kind of person are you looking for? How can you show that you are that kind of person? What duties are being asked for? How can you say, yes, I can do that? How have you shown perhaps in another past job or even as part of your vocational studies with me? Have you said, or could you say you've already done that? Okay, or I've got experience in being a floor manager because of Unit 23 when I was a floor manager for 2 separate productions. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, what's your place in the film industry? This is quite, if you read it properly, a relatively humorous infographic, which again, maybe might just open your eyes into different avenues of film and media landscape jobs that perhaps you didn't know existed. Some more websites to have a look at there. And then once you do find a job, read the specification. Okay, that information is there to help you, and they will be looking for certain things. If you take for granted that you apply for a job and you think you know what that job's about, then perhaps you won't get an application successful, and certainly if you get to the interview stage, you might not be able to make that up. Okay, so read that. There may well be some more tedious issues to look at, legal contracts. Is it a paid job hourly? Is it a salary? Is it short term? Is it even paid at all? Perhaps it might be voluntary for a period of time. There may be a contract at the end of it. There may well be time owed in lieu. It may well be long hours. You might have to fill timesheets out. So think about all of those different considerations when it comes to the contract. Okay, and some of the other additional bits and pieces to have a look at there. So that's it. Quick whistle-stop tour of my Google site careers page. I would like you to navigate through it yourself because there is a lot for you to take advantage of. Other than that, if there are any questions about that, please give me a shout and I can speak to you one-to-one, perhaps about my experience in the industry. Perhaps I could put you in contact with one of my former students who may well have done something like what you are interested in, or may have had a similar experience to you when they were here. Okay, other than that, thank you for watching this video, and please get in touch if you need any further help about careers in the media and film industry.